Hi, and welcome to Digital Bluprint Store tutorial. In this video, I will show you how to set up and use your all-in-one task tracker in the most efficient way. In this video, I'm using Google Sheets, but the Excel version is exactly the same. First thing, we protect most of the cells where there are formulas to make sure that you don't erase any important formulas that could impact the spreadsheet. So if you see this message, it means you're not supposed to touch it. But don't worry, I'll show you step by step how to prepare your spreadsheet. So if you see this little message, simply click on the X and you will be fine. Moreover, we established a color code to show you which cells can be edited and which one cannot. So basically, you only can edit the cells that have a white background. Another small warning, please don't move a cell from one place to another. If you do move a cell, it could generate an issue by messing up the automation of the spreadsheet. The best way to avoid these errors is simply to copy and paste your data. So the first tab is the Setup tab. In this tab, you will set up all your information needed for the spreadsheet. As you can see, on the left-hand side of the tab, you will find a ribbon with a list of all the tabs to easily navigate through them. The tabs are separated by sections for easy navigation. So we have the Setup section. We are currently in it. Then we have the Dashboard section that includes the main dashboard, the monthly calendar, and the weekly calendar tabs. Then the Task Creation section to enter all your tasks and manage them. And the last section is for extra resources, including a Decision Matrix tab, the KanBan, and the Gantt chart tab. So this menu will help you easily navigate. If you want to go, for example, to the Decision Matrix, you can simply click on it, and as you can see, it brings you directly to this specific tab. So now let's go back to the Setup tab. Simply click on Setup. So now let's have a look at the Setup tab. You will see a lot of tables that are useful to set up the other tabs of the spreadsheet, and particularly the drop-down menus. So the first table is to define a list of emoji that you can use to easily visualize your task status. You will be able to add more emoji by using a website like Emojipedia. So let's take an example together. As you can see here, I'm on the website called Emojipedia. Let's say I want to have a fire emoji. You can simply click on OK. Then, as you can see, it was copied. Go back to your spreadsheet, and then let's just delete one so we have enough space. Then we simply copy-paste it on the little formula bar, and as you can see, we have the little fire or flame added to our emoji pool. Then you simply have to type in your data to populate the drop-down menus for statuses, KanBan categories, and people in charge. Quick note for you, the KanBan category table order is important. In this example, backlog will be the first column of your KanBan board, to do the second one, and so on. So be careful when you are setting up the data for the KanBan. Then the last section is a little bit different. This allows you to define your working days for your project, as well as the holidays for the Gantt charts. So these dates will basically be highlighted directly in the Gantt chart that we will be seeing later. So for now, I'll skip the dashboard section and focus on the task creation section. This section is divided into 4 tabs. So the first one is the variable task for all one-time tasks that don't repeat. Then we have the recurring tasks to set up tasks that repeats on a regular basis, such as weekly meetings. Then we have the task schedule, which is a visual overview of all your recurring tasks, allowing you to review and adjust them easily. Then finally, we have the task filter, which is a comprehensive view that combines both variable and recurring tasks with a powerful filter and sorting options to help you stay organized. So now let's explore the variable task tab, which offers a user-friendly interface. You simply need to input your tasks and associated data, such as the status, chosen from a drop-down menu, the priority, person in charge, start date, and due date. If you are using the Google Sheet version of our spreadsheet, you can double-click when it's a date, and you will see a little calendar popping where you can simply click on the date that you want to choose. However, this filter is non-existent, so it does not exist in Excel. So if you're using the Excel version of our product, you simply will have to type in the date. And finally, the system automatically calculates the days left, as you can see here in the days left column. This tab is linked with the KanBan board, and you will be able to define the KanBan category. Next, you can indicate whether the task is important and/or urgent. Based on your selections, the spreadsheet will automatically categorize the task as a do, delegate, delete, or decide using the Eisenhower matrix framework. Then you could set the progress, and there's also a designated area for notes if needed. Upon completing a task, you can mark it by checking the checkbox on the left side of the table, resulting in a strike-through effect. So at the top of the tab, you'll find task statistics presented through a bar chart that represent the task priority and two pie charts, one sorting task by status and the other illustrating distribution per person in charge. You also have on the left-hand side the possibility to highlight a task to do a quick search, as well as the overall number of completed tasks and the number of tasks due today. So let's take an example together and enter a simple task. So let's scroll down to the next empty row and write a YouTube tutorial script, for example. So then I can write some description. Let's skip this for now. And then we can just simply choose the status with the drop-down menu, the priority, the person in charge. So now let's choose the date. We are using Google Sheet in this example, so let's simply choose a date on the small calendar. Small reminder, if you're using Excel, you need to type in the date. And as you can see here, we are on May 11th. So as you can see, all the days of today are highlighted in green and the days left are automatically calculated. Then we can also select a status for the KanBan, the importance and urgency. And as you can see here, based on the importance and urgency, the decision is supposed to be in the to-do section of the decision matrix that we will see later on. So now let's take a look at the Recurring Tasks tab. This tab allows you to set up all your recurring tasks over the year. Typically, these tasks are always the same every week or every month, and they do not take a lot of time to do. This way, you'll be able to enter just one row of these tasks instead of having to do it weekly, for example. So the first thing to do is to enter the task name, then set a frequency for these tasks and enter a description. Then you could define the priority, the person in charge, and if the task is important or urgent, just like in the variable task tab. Once this is done, simply enter the due date of the first task and enter the end date if there is one. So let's take an example together. Let's say that the task name is simply Friday meetings. The frequency is every week, so it will be every week on Friday. Let's skip the description. This task is low, and then let's put someone in charge, and the importance will be not important and not urgent, let's say. And then the first date will be the next Friday, so in my case, it will be May 16th. So on a small note, we try to give you as many frequency as possible, but let's say that you have a meeting every single day during the week, the weekdays, so from Monday to Friday, then we would suggest that you select the every week frequency and simply enter 5 tasks. So one from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This way you will enter it 5 times only, and it will be recurring for the rest of the year. Same thing, let's say you have it every 3 weeks, then you enter it 3 times and also choose every week. You see the drill. So if you have any more questions, you can simply reach out, and then we will tell you all the tips that we have to adjust your frequency. And one last thing, we also added one time, but again, if this task is only for one time, you should enter it in the variable tasks instead of the recurring. So now let's take a look at the Task Schedule tab. First thing, be careful because this tab is not protected to allow you to filter it. So make sure to never erase any formulas that have a great background. In this tab, you will have the summary of your recurring tasks sorted by date. This tab only displays your recurring tasks and not the variable ones. If you have any modification to a task concerning the date, the priority, the person in charge, or the final decision, you could simply indicate the modification in these 4 columns on the right-hand side. Additionally, this tab is partially automated, meaning that the gray columns contain formulas and will automatically adjust when you insert new recurring tasks, even if they are dated in the past. However, the white columns are not automated and will not shift accordingly, as they do not contain formulas. To avoid confusion and maintaining proper alignment, we recommend always adding new recurring tasks after the last modified row. Then, if everything looks good to you, there's no need to make any further modification. Then, once the task is done, simply tick the box under the column Done. You also have 6 big filters here where you can select the data you want to see. For example, if I want to only see my high priority tasks, I choose High with the priority filter. So as you can see here, it seems like we only have 3 high priority tasks. Then we can easily remove the filter by clicking there again and then select 7 or select all, click on OK, and as you can see, all the tasks will reappear again. This tab is a little bit different with Excel since these features are not available. So there's a standard filter at the top of the table, but it works exactly the same. So let's take another example together. You remember a few minutes ago, we added a task in the recurring task called Friday meetings. So let's find this special meeting. As you can see here, it seems to be on row 33. So let's say that this task is not anymore a low priority, but a high priority. We can simply change it here. And then let's say that the person in charge is not Marco anymore, it's Sophia. Let's change it there as well. And let's say that it's finished, it's done. We can simply check the checkbox. And all these modifications will be added to the task filter, which we will cover just now. So now let's take a look at the Task Filter tab. This tab allows you to filter absolutely all your tasks, including the variable and recurring ones. There is a lot of filter possibility in this tab since there's a lot of different columns. I will not go all in details in every filter possibility, but basically you can filter all the columns you have and even sort your due dates ascending or descending. So let's take an example together and find our Friday meetings that we just covered in the task schedule. So this Friday meeting was changed from a low importance to a high importance. So we can click on high. And then this task was also recurring, right? So let's use the recurring variable filter and click on recurring. So as you can see here, we only have a few tasks left, and we can easily find our task because it was done and completed. So as you can see here, we only have 3 tasks left, including our Friday meeting. Perfect, we found this task and you want to remove all the filter. Simply go back to the filter and select them and click on delete. And as you can see, all the tasks will reappear. If you have a lot of data, this might take 1 or 2 seconds. So now let's have a look at the extra resources section. This section includes 3 powerful tabs designed to support different aspects of your task and project management. The Decision Metrics tabs helps you prioritize tasks by evaluating their urgency and importance, making it easier to decide whether to do, delegate, delete, or defer them. The KanBan tab provides a visual workflow board to track the progress of your task across different stages, offering a clear snapshot of what's in progress, completed, or pending. The Gantt chart tab gives you a timeline-based view of your projects, helping you schedule and monitor tasks over time to ensure everything stays on track. So let's dive into the Decision Matrix tab, which is also called Eisenhower Matrix. This tab is largely automated. Your only inputs are selecting the month and ensuring the year at the top left. You can also choose to filter the view to show only completed tasks, only pending tasks, or all the tasks. Below the filter options, you'll see a list of all tasks for the selected month. Below the filter options, you'll see a list of all tasks for the selected month, along with the key details like their due date, importance, urgency, and the resulting action category. On the right-hand side, tasks are automatically sorted into 4 sections based on the Eisenhower matrix, so meaning in between the to-do, to delegate, to decide, and to delete. To help you stay aligned with this method, a visual reference of the matrix is included at the top left. So, for instance, tasks that are urgent but not important should be delegated. Finally, you'll also find a progress chart in the same area, giving you a quick overview of how much you've accomplished in each category and your total progress for the month. So let's take an example together. Remember that this tab is basically totally automated except the start date as well as the view selection menu. So let's take an example together and filter by the done task. So as you can see here, we only see the task with a check mark, meaning that they are done. Now let's say that we want to see the not done task. As you can see here, all the tasks without a check mark will appear. Again, if you do have a lot of data, this might take a second or two. Now let's take a look at the KanBan board tab. In this tab, everything is automated based on the variable task tab. Recurring tasks do not appear in this tab. The only thing you have to manage is the filter options. So simply open the filter options by clicking on the small plus sign in the margin. And then you will have this message popping up. It's the only time where you can click on OK, when you click on the plus and minus signs. Then you will be able to filter your tasks to have a better visual. So the filter in the KanBan board works exactly the same as the filter in the task filter tab. So let's take an example together and try to find our task that we added in the variable task tab, which was called the YouTube tutorial. This decision was in to do. So let's choose the status to do. All right, so as you can see here, it's filtered all the tasks and we only have 2 tasks left, including our YouTube tutorial script. So on the right-hand side of the filter, you have a small legend of the color and the task box. So as you can see here, our YouTube tutorial is in yellow, meaning that it is a medium priority. On the left-hand side, we can see who's the person in charge. So for this specific task, it's Sophia. You also have the task name, the description, a progression bar, the due date, as well as the status. So now let's remove the filter so that we can see all of our tasks in the KanBan. So if you have a lot of data, again, this might take a few seconds. Now let's filter by person in charge and let's click on Sophia. So as you can see here, all the tasks of Sophia appeared and we can find again our YouTube tutorial script. Remember, she was in charge. So now let's go back to our variable task and change this YouTube script. So let's change the priority to very high. And then let's change the KanBan category to review. And then finally, let's change the progress to 95% since this is in review, right? Now let's go back to our KanBan to see the change. So as you can see here, our task YouTube tutorial is still under Sophia. However, it moved from the to-do to the review, and we also changed our priority from medium to very high. So it changed from yellow-colored to pink-colored. And then the last thing that we did is to update the progress. You remember it was at 0%, and now it's 95%. So the progression bar also updated. And then finally, one little feature, if you want to jump directly to your variable task, we also added a small button so that you can jump right in. Simply click on the link. And as you can see, it brings you directly to the variable tasks. So now let's explore the Gantt chart tab. This tab is designed to help you visually plan and manage all the tasks related to a single project. Please note that it supports tracking one project at a time. If you'd like to manage multiple projects, simply duplicate the tab as needed. The Gantt chart focuses exclusively on variable tasks. Recurring tasks are not displayed here. To begin, enter the project name and select the project manager at the top. If no project name is provided, the chart will remain empty. The layout is organized into 15 collapsible project phases, each containing up to 15 tasks. You can expand or collapse each phase using the small plus and minus sign on the left margin. Once your tasks are selected from within the drop-down menu from the Variable Tasks tab, key information such as progress, start and end dates, duration, priority, assignee, status, and remaining days will be filled in automatically. You can also assign a custom color to each taskbar to improve visual clarity. On the right, the Gantt chart itself is fully automated. The timeline displays the daily intervals with weekly breaks for better readability. And then we also have today's date highlighted in red. Workdays are shown in white. Weekends are in light gray, and holidays, which you defined in the Setup tab, appeared in dark gray. A color legend is also available at the top of the chart to help you understand the visuals quickly and accurately. And then finally, at the top of the page, you have the global progress of your project. So now let's take a look at the dashboard section. This section is composed of 3 tabs: the main dashboard, which provide a comprehensive summary of your entire spreadsheet, a monthly calendar, and a weekly calendar to help you visualize your task at a glance. So let's begin with the dashboard tab. This tab provides a comprehensive overview of your entire spreadsheet in one place. At the top, you'll find the 3 quick access icons linking directly to the decision matrix, the KanBan board, and the Gantt chart tabs. Simply click to jump to the respective section. Then the dashboard is divided into 2 main areas. On the left side, you'll see a global overview of your tasks. This includes your overall task progress, today's tasks, upcoming tasks, and a set of pie charts that breaks down task status, affinities, priorities, and KanBan categories, all for a clear visual insights. On the right side, you'll find a summary of the decision matrix, including progress by decision type. Additionally, a small triangle at the top left helps you quickly spot task dates for any given month. So you only have to type in the year, so 2025, and then choose the drop-down menu and decide on a month. So let's go from April to May. As you can see here, all the days highlighted in blue means that you have a task on this specific day. It also highlights today's date. As I said earlier, today we are May 11th. So now let's take a look at the monthly calendar. So as you can see here, the monthly calendar is divided into 2 sections. On the left-hand side, you have everything related to the filter and all the features. Then on the right-hand side, you have the main calendar. So to begin, simply enter the year and select the month you'd like to view. You can also customize the start date of the week to match your preference. If no filter are applied, all the tasks scheduled for the selected month will automatically appear in the calendar. Task marked as done will display a check mark in the first column and will be visually grayed out with a strike through for easier recognition. This update happens automatically when you marked a task as done in either the variable task or the task schedule tab. On the left side, you'll find a compact monthly mini calendar where highlighted days indicate scheduled tasks. Today's date is marked with a brighter blue for quick reference. You'll also find a set of filter options. Choose to display all tasks, only completed tasks, or only those that are still due. Hide tasks with a specific status if desired. Then select whether you want tasks to be color-coded by priority or by the decision matrix category. This will update both the legend and the calendar colors accordingly. At the bottom left of the page, your monthly progress is summarized so that you can easily track how you're doing. You also have some space for notes. Each calendar days support up to 7 tasks. If more than 7 are scheduled, a warning will appear at the bottom of the days cell. In this case, we recommend switching to the weekly calendar tab for a more detailed view. With this setup, staying on top of your monthly task becomes simple and intuitive. So let's take an example together and find our 2 examples, which were the YouTube tutorial script and the Friday meetings. So as you can see here, on the 18th, we can find our YouTube tutorial script, which is in To Do. As you can see, it's in orange. Then on Friday the 23rd, we can see the Friday meetings here, which is in yellow and meaning in the To Delete section of the decision matrix. Now let's play around with the filters so that we can see how this monthly calendar will update. So let's say that we want to see the priority. So as we can see here, the YouTube tutorial was a priority very high, so it's in orange. Then let's go to our Friday meeting. The priority was high, so it's now in pink. Then let's say we want to remove some tasks and let's see all of them. Let's use the filter and tick and then choose Not Done Task. As you can see here, all these tasks are not done and they are not checked. Now let's say that we want to see all the tasks that are done. So as you can see here, all the tasks which are done are struck through and have a check mark. Now let's say that we will want to see all the tasks again. So we simply delete the filter and all the tasks will appear, including the done task and the not done task. And then let's say that we do not want to show some specific task. So let's say that we do not want to see the tasks that are in all hold. As you can see here, some of the tasks were removed. So you can play around with the calendar to basically show what's important for you. If you would like to print this calendar, it's totally feasible, and all the details of how to print them are included in the README PDF file included in your order. So now let's explore the weekly calendar tab. It is really simple. The weekly calendar works exactly the same as the monthly calendar tab. The only difference is that you can decide the exact day when you want the start of the week. So as you can see here, we simply typed in 2025. We used the drop-down menu to select the month of May, and then we typed in day 4. You could put 5, 6, 7, and as you can see, the data will update. So as you can see here, today's date is also highlighted in a darker blue. And then on Saturday, May 10th, we have 0 tasks, meaning that there's no graph appearing either. Also, when we don't have any task done, like today on May 11th, the little chart is at 0%, meaning that there's no progression done. And then if we go back to May 5th, we can see that we have 2 tasks written there, and one of them is finished, meaning that we are at 50% progression for these tasks on this exact day. I hope this tutorial helps you easily set up your spreadsheet. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. Follow Digital Bluprint Store on YouTube for sneak peeks on our new templates.